Hey everyone, it's your buddy back again with another exciting fanfic, which is What If Naruto Got Bloodline Harem Part 2 Naruto x Fem Haku x Harem. If you enjoy this story, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more fanfics like this. Now, let's dive right into the fanfic. The answer in the exams. I asked you if you wanted to go out for dinner to me. Though seeing as it is last minute, it would probably be ramen, so if you don't want to, I understand. Naruto told the girl, clearly nervous. No. I mean no. Ramen sounds great, let's go Naruto-kun. Hinata told him, forgetting to hide her joy for a few moments out of excitement. Ah, I can't believe he finally asked me out. I never thought this dream would happen. Man, it seems too good to be true, I must be dreaming. Wait, if I am, I hope I don't wake up because I don't want this to end. I mean, this was only the beginning of my dream. I hope we eventually get to the end where we get married and do that, Hinata thought happily as she followed Naruto back to his favorite ramen stand. Hey Ayame-chan, a bowl of salt ramen for me and whatever Hinata-chan wants. Naruto told the girl, seeing as she seemed to be the only one in at the moment. Okay, coming up Naruto-kuno, and before you ask, my father had to go do something, so he won't be back for who knows how long. Anyways, you are paying for Hinata-san. Are you two on a date or something? Ayame asked, but added the first, seeing as she knew how curious Naruto could get. Yup. Naruto simply told her, smiling. Course Hinata just blushed, still surprised that her dream actually came true. Good to see you finally found a girlfriend, Naruto. Anyways, what can I get you, Hinata-san? Ayame asked kindly. Just a beef ramen please. Hinata told her, still shy as ever. Course Ayame then quickly got to work as the new couple turned to each other and started some small talk. Course during this they both learned quite a bit. For example, Naruto learned that although Hinata was shy, she still was stronger than he thought, and when she finally got away from being nervous, she was an interesting person to be around and he really enjoyed her company. While Hinata realized that although Naruto seemed to just be a crazed and not bright guy, he actually was very bright in certain matters, and he was even beginning to try to master his clan's specialties and the politics involved in clans. Before they knew it, the date lasted quite a while, with Naruto only ending up eating a few bowls of ramen due to being too focused on talking. Something that made Ayame truly happy to see. But eventually they had to go their separate ways, so they quickly said their goodbyes and promised to meet up tomorrow. And when they left, they both felt really happy with how their first date turned out. Well, Hinata really is a good girl. I am happy that I got to be the one to get her attention. Though will it work out with the fact that I have that stupid clan restoration act? I mean, I really don't want to put any girl through something she doesn't want to go through. But Hinata seems to still willing when she about it, so I guess there is a chance that this could work out with a large kind of happy family, maybe. Naruto thought as he walked back to his shared apartment. I had a great time with Naruto-kun and I think he enjoyed it as well. I really hope this continues. I mean, I don't even care that I will have to share him. After all, he is the only person for me. Though those other girls will just have to know that I am the main girl. Hinata thought happily. While it is a harem, of course Hinata will be the first, meaning she is basically the leader, and yes, I know she is normally the alpha, but come on, she probably is going to end up with Naruto eventually anyways. And remember that I am pretty sure this note was made before Naruto ended. Course after that she still went home for her normal practice time, much happier than she had been in a while. Plus next day Hinata plus. When Hinata finally woke up, she quickly went to her team meeting with a smile still on her face. Course she had no idea why it was so early, but Kurenai only told them that she had an important announcement to tell them. So, she just figured that it would be something they needed to think about or practice for a while, or something. Though right now she didn't care all that much, seeing as all she could think about was the fact that she had her true love as a boyfriend, and he actually loved her just as much as she loved him apparently. When she got to her group, she noticed that Kurenai seemed completely serious instead of her normal cheerful self, so she quickly focused completely in on what she had to say. Team, seeing as I have taught you a lot already, I felt it would be good to find a way to test how much each of you have actually learned. So, I have nominated you up for the Chunin exams to do just that. Now I do have to tell you that this test will be no joke. You will have to use all of the skill you have just to survive, and yes, it is possible you might not survive through the test. But if you do, you will have the chance to become a chunin. Though, like I told you before, this is mainly a chance to see just how said this is only to give you a chance to show your skills, so if you feel like it is too much for you, don't feel too bad about having to give up. Most people don't end up making it to the final part on their first try anyways. I don't want you guys to take any more risks than you feel prepared for. Now, if you want to do this, the choice is completely up to each one of you, but you must make the final decision as a team. So, I am giving each of you this entire day to decide amongst yourselves, but if you want to go for it, then meet at the Academy Room 301 tomorrow morning. Kurenai told them, then left the group to think about it with the papers they need to fill out slowly falling in the air where she stood moments ago. So, what do you guys think we should do? For me, I so want to kick some ass in this exam. Kiba told them with a determined smile. Team 7 Naruto was happy now knowing that he had a girlfriend, so happy in fact that he didn't even mind standing around for an hour waiting for his sensei, who for some reason wanted them to have their meeting early in the morning. So, all three of them were sleepily waiting for the ever-late Kakashi to show up. I hate waiting for that lazy sensei of ours. Sakura yelled out annoyed, then looked over at the smiling Naruto. And what are you so happy about, Naruto? You are even less of a morning person we are. Sakura asked, annoyed with everything just because of how early it was compared to when she normally woke up in Konoha. Well, Sakura-chan, I am happy because I finally noticed Hinata-chan's love and happily returned it, so I can't be happier seeing as we just had our first date yesterday, which went extremely well. In fact, we plan to have one today as well. Naruto told her with a true smile. Oh, well, I guess that is good news for you then. Sakura told him, a bit upset. Why am I so upset? I mean, I like Sasuke-kun and I should be happy for Naruto, but for some reason I just feel upset about it and maybe even a bit jealous. But, why? I mean, this means that Naruto finally will stop asking me out, but the question is that really what I want anymore? I mean, even though I know Naruto holds the fox in him, I still have a small desire for him as well. But that means I like two guys. The question is, which one do I like more? I mean, both are under that CRA thing, I bet, so I still have a chance with both of them, though do I anymore? I mean, I have been mean to Naruto so much that now that he has Hinata, he probably doesn't like me anymore. Sakura began thinking until Kakashi ended up showing up finally after another hour. Hello team, I have asked you guys to show up to tell you that I have nominated you guys for the Chunin exams. So, I am giving you the entire day to fill out these forms and to pack for it. Good luck guys, and I hope that the next time I see you, you will all be one step closer to my rank. Kakashi quickly told them, then left just as quick. Did he really just make us wake up this early just to tell us that we have a day to prepare for something we can get ready for in a few hours? Was all Sasuke, Sakura, and Naruto could think, a bit annoyed with their teacher, but still left to prepare anyways. Course they didn't notice that Kakashi was still there watching them. I really do wish you guys good luck. I mean, you will need all the luck you can get to survive. Course you will have company in this impending danger, seeing as all of the other senseis decided to nominate their teams as well. So, I guess we will see what you guys can do with all of your recent training. He thought sadly, then really went away, letting his team have some privacy before they went into what could be their doom. Now he could have told them that there was an option, but with his team there was next to no chance of them being able to refuse. For he knew that Naruto and Sasuke would immediately choose to fight. And he sadly also knew that there was a high chance that if Sakura decided not to do so, her mother, who was a member of the Civilian Council, would push her to change her mind. After all, the Civilian Council has always been obsessed with showing off the mighty Uchiha. He really didn't want to be part of the reason a family became more tense. Naruto. Naruto quickly went back into his room and quickly packed up a bag full of the normal weapons and camping equipment, then quickly rechecked the other supplies he now always had on him. So he unsealed all of the stuff he had in his pockets and came to find 100 kunai and shuriken in each pocket, a pack of 50 explosive seals, a few scrolls of information he was studying at the moment, and a few smoke bombs. So, he had everything a ninja could need in his pockets except for food pills, which he rarely used due to the fact that he had the fox constantly healing him. Course after he checked it quickly, he quickly filled the form out, then left to go get a good meal of ramen at his favorite restaurant. Hey old man, can I get 6 bowls of beef ramen? Naruto yelled out right when he got into the stand, expecting it to be empty this early in the morning. So, of course he was surprised to see that a man dressed up in a black bodysuit with some sort of body-shaped package on his back and a blonde-haired girl with a giant fan on her backing already enjoying a bowl of ramen themselves. Coming right up, Tuki told him, then quickly got to work ignoring the fact that his 2 other customers were staring surprised at the blonde kid. So, soon Naruto sat next to the weird boy happily waiting for his food when Ayame walked over to him to talk for a bit. Hey Naruto-kun, how are you doing today? She asked in her normal cheerful voice. Great Ayame-chan. Not only do I have to go find Hinata-chan later on today, but I also just got news about my next step in becoming the Hokage. Naruto told her happily, causing her to laugh a bit at his antics until she noticed that the other boy's eyes were focused on her. Oh, can I help you, sir? She asked him, thinking that he must have asked her for something and she just didn't hear it. Yes, I would like another bowl of salt ramen please, and maybe I can share it with my beautiful waitress. The boy told her, clearly trying to flirt with her. Coming right up, sir. Dad, another salt ramen. Ayame told him, then shouted to her dad, ignoring the boy's flirting. Just so you guys know, Ayame is going to be around 16 or 17 in this fanfic, about 2 years older than the other, who I have decided will be 14 for this. And soon the boy's next ramen and Naruto's larger order came out, and Ayame just stood over closer to Naruto, watching over the stand, though staying a bit away from the guy who already flirted with her, seeing as she wasn't interested. Ha! Kankuro, even the ramen stand girl doesn't want you flirting with her. The girl told the now named Kankuro, laughing at him. Oh, shut up Tamari, she probably just doesn't like younger men, that is all. Kankuro growls at the still laughing girl. No, I doubt it, seeing as she does seem to like that blonde boy. Tamari told him, glancing over at Naruto and Ayame, who were talking happily while Naruto was enjoying his ramen. Course this just made Kankuro even more annoyed, so he decided to confront the blonde kid beside him. Oi, stop trying to flirt with her, I called her first. Kankuro told Naruto when Ayame left to get Naruto's next order of ramen. What do you mean I am just talking to my friend? Naruto asked, confused. Bull crap, you are just trying to get the hot waitress before I do. Kankuro complains, even more upset. Course it was at this time when Ayame came back with 4 more bowls of ramen. 3 of which she gave to Naruto, then gave the last one to Kankuro, who ordered yet another to at least get her attention again. But she still ended up quickly going over to Naruto to talk again instead of listening to his flirting. So, Naruto-kun, I heard there is a ninja exam or something coming up, are you going to take it? Ayame asked, curious. Yay, pretty soon I am going to be a chunin. Naruto told her happily after slurping down a few noodles. And then I will be one step closer to becoming a clan head of the Uzumaki clan and the Hokage. Naruto told her happily. Huh, but I thought you were the last Uzumaki, so how can there be a clan of them? Ayame asked the boy, who instantly blushed. Well, the council already made a plan for that to change. Naruto told her, not really wanting to explain it in too much detail. Oh, but how? Ayame was going to ask until she was suddenly brought back to Kankuro by chakra strings. Stop just focusing on that brat and notice a true man like me. He told her, holding her close with the strings, and was just about to kiss her when he ended up kissing cold metal. So he opened his eyes that he closed for the kiss out of surprise, and noticed that instead of soft lips he was kissing a red blade. And when he looked over to where it came from, he noticed that the blonde kid was holding it while glaring at him. Oi, what the hell are you doing? Can't you see that I am trying to get a kiss here? Kankuro asked, annoyed, but was quickly thrown out of the stand by Naruto, with Tamari following after him. Ow, damn kid, I will show you. Kankuro growled out, then reached for his wrapped up package, though was stopped by Tamari, who smacked him even farther away from the stand. OWW. What the hell, Tamari? He called out, even more annoyed, though shivered slightly when he noticed that his sister was glaring even colder than he had ever seen before from her. Don't ever let me catch you doing that again, or else. She told, then dragged the still scared boy away from the shopping district by his leg, not caring that he was being hurt by it. Naruto_. Thank you, Naruto-kun, Ayame told him happily, then kissed his cheek, causing Naruto to blush and hold his cheek. Oh, Sorry Naruto, I probably shouldn't have done that now that you are with Hinata. She told him, blushing a bit as well. No, don't worry about it, Ayame-chan. Naruto told her simply, then paid for his meal and left to go find Hinata. Ayame Sigh. Naruto-kun, you always have been so kind and protective of me. If only I could find a guy like you. But sadly all of the guys my age that are good seem to be taken. Even you, my Naruto-kun, though how can you rebuild a clan with only one girl? I guess I will have to look into that. Ayame though then began to clean up the bowls and noticed Naruto gave them the money for Kankuro and Temari's bowls as well, which brought a smile to her face. Naruto. Naruto was currently walking around the village trying to find Hinata when he finally saw her eating a cinnamon bun with her other teammates eating their snacks as well. So, seeing as they weren't trying to hide their relationship or anything, he quickly went over to them and sat down next to her. Hey Hinata-chan, Naruto told her, smiling. Hey Naruto-kun, she told him, blushing a bit, then leaned on Naruto's shoulder shyly at first but then just relaxed with a smile and continued to eat her favorite snack. Course when Kiba saw this he was surprised at first then smiled. So, Naruto, you finally figured out not only that your orange outfit was horrible for ninja work but you also finally noticed Hinata's feelings, he told Naruto, who just blushed out of embarrassment. Well, I only changed my outfit because I learned more about my clan and their style, so I decided to honor my ancestors by wearing traditional Uzumaki ninja attire. And as for Hinata-chan, I kind of just fell in love and took a chance. Naruto told them, rubbing the back of his head. Wait, so you didn't notice it? How can you be so dense? Kiba asked, shocked. Kiba, it seems that due to Naruto never having a real family as an orphan, he didn't have the ability to watch anyone in love. Meaning that he wouldn't know what it is until he actually felt it himself. Shino told them, making complete sense as always. Well, I guess that is true, Shino, but it is too bad I can't tell people exactly why I was an orphan. I mean, if I did, I bet I would have as many girls in love with me as Sasuke does. Though I don't really care, seeing as I have one of the most beautiful girls in the village as my first girlfriend. Naruto though happily looking down at Hinata, who was still happily eating her snack next to him. So Naruto didn't notice my love but instead he fell in love. I am actually happier that was the way it happened. I mean, if he only asked me out so I wouldn't feel bad, it would have been terrible, but now I know that he does for a fact love me very much. Hinata thought happily, then returned to focusing on the sweet taste of her cinnamon bun that seemed to be even better now that she could feel the warmth of her true love's shoulder right next to her. And after that they all just sat around talking about random stuff for a while until Naruto finally remembered one of the reasons he came to find Hinata for. So, did you guys get nominated to enter the Chunin exams? Naruto asked them, curious. Actually, we were just talking about it, seeing as Kurenai-sensei just gave us the forms for it and gave us a choice to do it, so we planned on spending the day talking it over with each other until we decide. Hinata told him, then remembered the fact that they were going to plan a date today as well. Though if you want, I could just put my vote in now so we can go on another date. Hinata quickly told him, not wanting him to think that she forgot about him. Course he just laughed a bit at this. Don't worry about it, Hinata, I understand. Stay with your team and make sure this exam is what you want to do. Naruto told her with a caring smile. Though why are you the ones to decide anyways? I mean, for my team the Scarecrow told us that we were picked and just to get ready. Naruto asked them, confused, seeing as he thought that the way his team got picked was the way the exam went. Well, Naruto, we get to decide mainly because it is dangerous for anyone to enter. Though for your team it is probably different, seeing as it has two nearly extinct clans in it that the council probably want to show off to the other villages that are here. Shino informed them. Yay, probably. Kiba mumbled, then noticed he said 2 clans. Wait, why 2? I thought only Sasuke Tem had a clan in Team 7. Kiba asked them, confused. Well, Kiba, it turns out that the Uzumaki was actually a clan that was just very good friends of Konoha and were always respected by Konoha. So, when I activated the Uzumaki bloodline, I was instantly marked as the clan heir for it, seeing as I am most likely the only one left on the planet. Which is also why I have the Uzumaki headband on my head instead of the Konoha one. Just because I have the need to show everyone that the Uzumaki clan has returned from near extinction. Naruto told him, and Kiba finally noticed Naruto's eyes and headband. Oh, yay, I see that now, though man, those eyes sure are creepy. Kiba tells him, feeling like the whirlpool was practically causing turmoil in his soul. Anyways, so how do you like the perks of being a clan head? I mean, you get more respect just because of that. And best of all, you will eventually become a council member. Kiba told him with a smile. Though his words made Naruto hear something that sounded like a snort of amusement inside of his head. Weird, I thought the fact that you go to mate with multiple girls would be the best perk. The Kyuubi told Naruto, surprising the blonde. Wait, how are you talking to me, fluff ball? I thought you were locked away inside of the seal. Naruto asked, trying to not show his friends the sudden shock he just felt. I know I should be, but apparently the fact that you willingly took so much of my chakra at the wave killing must have weakened the seal just enough for me to create mental contact with you. The Kyuubi told him, then sent him a mental fox smile. And that is just great, seeing as I can now torment you whenever I want, and maybe even get to share a couple of your senses so I can feel the pleasures of mating as well. He informed Naruto, seeing as he was unable to please himself with any of Hell's demon vixens in quite a while. What the hell? Naruto thought, shocked. No, I refuse to let you be able to talk to me or try to force yourself on Hinata-chan. I swear I will make sure that Gigi knows about this so he can fix it. Naruto told him, not wanting to deal with the fox that would like nothing but for Naruto to die a slow, horrible death. Oh, I wouldn't do that, Kit. I mean, that fool you call a cage would probably just send Anbu to watch over you constantly, and we both know how much the Anbu love to torment you. The fox told him, not wanting to be resealed yet again. What? No, I don't want those bastards that caused several of my scars following me around anymore. Fine, you win, fox, just don't bother me unless it is important. Naruto told him, then returned his attention back to his friends that somehow didn't notice that he was zoned out for a while. Yes, with this seal finally beginning to break, I should be able to escape in a few years. Though for now I might as well just pester the Kit for my own amusement. The Kyuubi thought happily, then went back to sleep in his cage. After Naruto's talk with the Kyuubi, he really didn't feel like talking too much, so he just listened in to the team's conversation. Course, when Hinata seemed to get nervous about the exam, Naruto just gave her hand a reassuring squeeze as she thought about the danger of the exam. But what if we don't survive? I mean, we could easily die. Hinata complained. Don't worry about it, Hinata, you are strong enough to pass this exam, no problem. Trust me, besides I have to be in it no matter what, so if you need me I will find you in it and help, okay? Naruto told her, trying to calm the nervous girl even more. Yay, you are right, Naruto-kun, I am sure that we all will do fine in this test. Hinata answered him happily. So, it is decided then. We will all go to this exam. Kiba asked his group, ready for their final decision. And both of his teammates just gave him a small nod of approval. Okay, then let's all get prepared for this test. Kiba told them, then they all went their separate ways. Hinata, why don't you go prepare? We can go for our date after we pass the exam, okay? Naruto tells Hinata, and she just nods her head, smiling. So, Naruto leaves her alone to pack her stuff up after giving her a quick hug. If Naruto-kun has faith in me, then I know I can do it. I can't let him down. Hinata tells herself, determined, then quickly left to her home, not noticing that there were two girls watching her. The two hiding girls. So, you still think that Naruto dating her is a bad thing? Anko asked the girl standing beside her. Fine, I guess him being with her might be a good thing. Might. I mean, we still haven't seen if he will try anything yet. Kurenai told her, causing her to just start laughing. Oh, come on Kurenai, you are just being overprotective of your sister. I told you already, I know for a fact that Naruto is not like that. In fact, he is probably one of the best guys for her to be with. Anko told her friend. Course Kurenai just nodded her head in agreement, though still looked skeptical. Hinata. After finishing packing her bag, it was already extremely late, so she just fell asleep, praying that her and all of her friends did good in this exam. Naruto, dinner time. Naruto was happily walking around when he noticed his favorite sensei and father figure Iruka looking at something with longing in his eyes. So, Naruto, being curious, snuck over to where Iruka was and noticed that he was looking over at where Anko lived. Iruka sensei has a thing for Anko-chan. Maybe it is time for me to become a matchmaker. Naruto thought knowing Anko liked him as well, though she was too worried about his reaction to actually try to tell him. So, when Iruka finally went to his home to make dinner, Naruto quickly wrote 2 notes and stuck them to 2 kunai and then wrote, Iruka, on one and Anko, on the other. He then launched them into their respective doors, making a loud enough noise for them to hear, but then quickly left. So, when they noticed the note, they quickly pulled it out and read practically the same thing. Iruka, Anko, I have always watched you from afar, just waiting for you to show signs of liking me, though you have yet to show it. So, I have decided to finally take a chance and actually meet you to confess. Though I am too shy to meet you in public. So, please meet me tonight at midnight at Training Field 1 so I can finally tell you that I love you with all my heart, face to face. Your true love, your secret admirer. And of course, when they saw this, they were skeptical at first, but then decided to go anyways, just making sure to bring equipment just in case it was a trap. Seeing as they figured they would either have to deal with a threat that would just try again or actually find someone that loves them and couldn't help but be curious as to which one it would be. _Anko_. Hey Kurenai, look at this. Anko told her friend over the meal that they had decided to share, tossing the paper over to her. Looks like you found an admirer, Anko-chan. I think you should go. I mean, you deserve someone that will make you happy. And just in case, I will come hiding in the trees if you need my help. Kurenai told her, wanting her friend to find a loved one finally, even if it meant taking a risk. Midnight. Anko and Iruka walked to the field where they finally noticed each other in the center of the field. Anko, Arkua, you were the one who sent this? They both asked, then blushed, happy that their secret crushes actually liked them. Course neither of them tried to say anything else for over 5 minutes, seeing as they were still getting over the shock of the meeting. This is getting nowhere. Naruto complained from inside of a bush, then decided to help them out some more. So, he quickly used his teacher's headhunter jutsu to get just behind Iruka without either of them noticing. He then created a chakra hand that he struggled to force out and pushed Iruka into Anko, causing them to accidentally kiss. Course it only lasted a few moments until Iruka quickly got off of Anko, blushing even more. Sorry Anko, I must have tripped on something. Iruka told her, embarrassed, while on his hands just above Anko, who was on the ground. There was then a few moments of silence before she surprised him by coming up for another kiss that lasted quite a bit longer. Don't worry, I love you too. She told him after the kiss, causing them both to smile for a moment, then quickly returned to their kissing, happy that they had each other. Course while they were doing this, Naruto was just crawling out of the hole he made, trying to give them some privacy, when he was suddenly grabbed by a quick moving body and pinned to the ground. What are you trying to do here, Naruto? Kurenai asked him with a kunai at his throat, surprised to see him. Course when she realized who it was, she removed the blade, knowing that Naruto was a friend of both Anko and Kurenai. Then it hit her, you sent the note to both of them, didn't you? She asked him, shocked. Course Naruto just sat up and rubbed the back of his head, embarrassed. Yeah, I found out that Anko liked him ages ago and just found out that he liked her back tonight. But I knew neither would make a move first due to shyness. So, I decided to do some matchmaking, and with a little push I managed to make 2 of my closest friends happier, so how about we leave to give them some privacy? Naruto tells her happily. Yeah, Kurenai said, still shocked that Naruto would do something like this. Naruto did this for them. Maybe my idea of him was wrong, Kurenai thought with a smile as she looked down at the kid that was running back towards the village just in front of her. With the new couple. After the kiss, they both had to stop for a quick breath, then Iruka remembered the notes. Hey Anko, I know I didn't send a message, so who do you think did? He asked, curious. Course Anko just put her arms around his neck and whispered, who cares, to him, and returned to their kiss, happy that she finally got to be with the person that was always nice to her. Naruto slowly woke up and did his final preparations for the Chunin exam before calmly walking to the academy. He then sat down on his old favorite swing set to wait for his teammates to show up. So, it is about to begin, Naruto thought, then let his thoughts wander around, trying to figure out what would happen as he stared at the building itself. Well kid, I imagine you will have to kill a few kids and then cut up a few more, the Kyuubi told him happy that Naruto will have to cause even more bloodshed. Really? Now you decide to pester me again? Naruto asked annoyed. And you know that I don't like causing unnecessary death. Naruto mentally yelled out at the fox. Well, we will just have to change that, won't we? Was all Naruto heard. Then he noticed that Sakura was trying to get his attention. Naruto. She screamed at him annoyed. Huh, oh, sorry Sakura, I must have been zoning out. Naruto apologized, not wanting anyone to know he could talk to the Kyuubi. Damn it Naruto. I was trying to get your attention for at least a couple of minutes. What were you thinking about that intently to not notice me for that long? Sakura asked annoyed. Well, things. Naruto told her, rubbing the back of his head nervously. But what? You know what? Never mind. Anyways, are you ready? Sasuke should be coming in a few minutes, so we might as well wait by the door. Sakura told him, deciding that she didn't want to bug Naruto about something so stupid when they were all nervous. But, like always, she was right, and Sasuke came walking confidently down the street towards them soon after Sakura came. They all then walked into the building ready to see what was in store for them. Though the first thing they noticed was that several teams were bunched up around room 201. Thankfully, though, all three of them were able to quickly pick up on the fact that there was a small genjutsu on the floor before they got caught up in it as well. Sadly, thought they still had to walk past the group to get to the next staircase, causing them to stare at Team 7. Thankfully, Naruto and Sakura were able to ignore this even as they heard some people start throwing insults at them. Sadly, Sasuke was unable to do the same as he heard the first comment thrown at him. Oi, you idiots, what are you doing? The test is over here. One of them called out, causing the rest to laugh, hurting Sasuke's pride. Sasuke, don't. Remember, this just means less people will take the test. Naruto whispered to him, though he completely ignored Naruto and walked back to the guy until he only stood a foot away from the guy. At least I can see through a stupid genjutsu, unlike you idiots. Now why don't you just run home, seeing as you clearly aren't ready for a test that calls for elites like me? Sasuke told him, shocking the boy, who looked up at the room number and noticed that the air around it morphed to show 201 instead of 301. Oh, well, I guess I need to work on something. The kid mumbled, embarrassed. Bah, I knew that. I just wanted to see who would want to be my first target, and it seems I just found him. He quickly said loudly, trying to cover his mistake before deciding to leave the building. Meanwhile, the rest of the groups that fell for the trick quickly walked to the proper room instead of following the quitting group. Nice job, Tem. Naruto growled out at Sasuke as he got close to his teammate, clearly annoyed. And although Sakura didn't want to admit it, she wanted to pretty much tell him the same thing, knowing that the test easily just became even harder than before. But before Team 7 reached the exam room, they found themselves stopped yet again, but by the green-clad boy called Lee. A teen who was quickly followed by the other members of his own team. Sasuke, I challenge you for the love of Sakura-chan. Lee yelled out, then winked at Sorka, who just shivered a bit due to picturing the idea of herself always being around the green spandex-loving guy. Though she didn't have to voice it, seeing as Tenten smacked Lee on the back of the head, annoyed. Lee, you can't get a girl to like you just by beating the competition, and don't let me find out that you are trying to treat women as prizes again. For if you do, I promise I will kick your ass myself. Tenten told him, scaring the boy. I would never do something that unyouthful, I promise, Tenten. Lee told her, looking nervous about angering the weapon user. Course she wasn't paying attention to him at the moment, seeing as she quickly went over to Team 7 ready to see if Naruto forgave her for calling him a thief yet. Hey Sakura-chan, Naruto-kun, she told them happily, and got the same in return from Sakura, though Naruto was a different matter. Hey Tenten, Naruto told her with a small smile, though clearly wasn't nearly as happy to see the girl as Sakura was. Well, it looks like he sort of forgives me, though he doesn't seem to count me as a good friend yet. I mean, he didn't even put Chan on the end of my name, which he does with every other girl he is friends with. Plus, that smile clearly is just a fake one. So, while I guess Naruto can't find it in his heart to hate me forever, I still have to rebuild our friendship somewhat, though I am only doing this because he is a pretty good friend. Not because I like him or anything. Just because I know that he will probably be one of the best friends I could have. Tenten thought, semi-upset with her new discovery. But both teams still went to the room after Lee's outburst. The first test room seemed to be a normal classroom, which confused the genin that were there, but still they just went over the rest of their village's genin to talk before the actual test started. Hey guys, you ready for this? Naruto asked happily when he reached them, purposely walking closer to Hinata but not showing affection so that it wouldn't be used against them later on. Yes, I believe we are, Naruto-kun. Hinata told him with a small smile. Yosh. This test will be the perfect way for us to test our youthfulness. Lee yelled out happily, making everyone flinch a bit just by him being so loud. Well, Lee is as loud as ever, I see. Kiba mumbled, causing all of them to laugh a bit. You kids really shouldn't be so loud. A strange boy with large glasses and a Konoha headband told them, looking a bit annoyed. Huh, who the heck are you and why do you think we are being too loud? Kiba asked the new kid. Oh, well, my name is Kabuto, and as for me saying you're too loud, well, just look around. Kabuto told them, then just brought their attention to the rest of the test takers, who were all looking just as annoyed with them as Kabuto was. Well, except for one redhead who seemed to just be looking at everyone with a bloodthirsty look. Course only one of them was walking up to them, which was a boy wearing a strange black bodysuit. It is good to see you again, you little brat. I am happy that you entered this exam, boy. Now I have an excuse to kill you. Kankuro told Naruto, trying to scare him with his ki. Wait, why are you so mad at Naruto? I mean, we never saw you before. Sakura asked, confused, only to get the glare turned to her, causing her to flinch a bit. This brat stopped me from having a little fun with a girl that clearly liked me. So, I need payback. Kankuro told her, then noticed that Temari was signaling him to come back to the team. So, he quickly turned to Naruto to send him one last warning. You better hope that you don't see me in this test too much, or you will meet your end, boy. Kankuro told him, then left to go back to his team. Hey Naruto, what was that about? Choji asked as soon as he knew that the boy was out of hearing range. Well, when I went for my ramen, that guy was there pestering Ayame-chan. So, I simply brought him out of the restaurant and away from Ayame, who clearly didn't want him to be flirting with her. Naruto told him, keeping it vague, seeing as it really wasn't important for them to know. Bah, more like you were trying to protect one of your mates. The Kyuubi told him. Shut up, furball. Naruto told the fox, annoyed, who just laughed in his mental face. Oh, so you already are trying to get another lovely girlfriend, Kiba asked him jokingly. What? No, I was only helping a friend, Naruto told him, quickly blushing out of embarrassment. Damn, does everyone think that every girl I talk to I want just because of this stupid CRA thing? Naruto thought, annoyed with his friend. Calm down, Naruto, you know I was just kidding. I mean, only alpha males like me can have more than one mate. Besides, if you cheated on Hinata, I would have no choice but to kill you for hurting my teammates' feelings. Kiba told him, figuring that he was stronger than Naruto. Course, Kiba didn't realize that Naruto would have to do just that, and that Hinata already knew that as well. Though they would have continued their conversation even longer if it wasn't for the fact that the first examiner and several chunin came into the room, making all of the genin quiet down just so that they could hear what they had to say. Okay maggots, allow me to introduce myself. My name is Ibiki, your first examiner. Now this first part is going to be a written test to see if you are smart enough to become a chunin in your own villages. So, you guys will sit down in your predetermined seats where you will take the test in absolute silence. Now you all will start off with 10 points and there are 10 questions to answer. Now for every answer you get right you get to keep your points, but for every answer you get wrong you lose a point. Now if any of the examiners catch you cheating, then 2 points will be deducted from your score. Though if you are caught cheating you will lose 2 points. The 10th question will be told when there is an hour left to test your ability to think on your feet. Finally, if one of your team members lose all of their points, then their entire team will be forced to leave the exam. Now hurry up and get to your seats. Ibiki told them, and the genin quickly did just that after finding their name tags. After which the test quickly started as the test was flipped over on everyone's desk. Course, Naruto was instantly surprised to see that the questions seemed to be familiar. I don't know why, but they picked all of the questions that were on the academy quizzes. Wait, that probably was because those bastards wanted me to fail due to being the hated child. Oh, well, I guess those bastards actually helped me in the long run. Naruto thought with a shrug, then began to fill out his paper with the answers that he had to memorize as a child to actually pass and become a genin. Though he stopped several times when he saw kunai being thrown past him to random desks. Though he still managed to finish with about 5 minutes left before the final question was asked. He then began to look around while making it look as unnoticeable as possible. In doing so, he noticed that basically all of the genin around him were trying their hardest to cheat in different ways. Though he also quickly noticed that Choji seemed to be looking at the paper confused instead. So, Naruto decided to help his fellow Konoha ninja out and slowly managed to steal a test from one of the failed genin with a small chakra tendril. He then placed it on Choji's lap so that he would at least have 1 or 2 questions answered. Course, have the paper placed there made the teen jump a bit, but having him possibly get caught cheating once was better than having no answers and failing. I don't know how I got this sheet, but I appreciate whatever force gave it to me. Choji thinks as he brings the paper onto his desk and made sure to change the name on the paper, not even worried about if the examiners watching docked him a few points. Course, as it turns, Shikamaru quickly attached his shadow to Choji, making him write answers to various questions, even those he already had answered. Well, I guess either way I'll have some questions answered. Choji thinks, watching his hand write over the answers he already had. Eventually the first part of the exam ended and Ibiki stopped them for the 10th question. Okay then, maggots, before I tell you the 10th question I have to tell you the added rules for it. You see, for this question the stakes are higher. For if you get this question wrong, you and your team will be unable to become a chunin. Ever. But if you just leave now, you are free to take the exam again next year. But, if you want to continue, then know that you risk your friend's livelihood, then feel free to continue. Ibiki told them with an evil smirk. So, after being unnerved by Ibiki, several teams left, leaving only a few of them left, which made the people who were going all in smile, seeing as they lost competition. Great, pretty soon we will barely have any competition, Naruto thought with a smile, though he soon noticed that both Hinata and Sakura seemed to about to raise their hands. Crap, I can't have Sakura leaving, seeing as I want to continue on and I know that Tem does too. And Hinata should stay in to show her true strength. Naruto, though trying to figure out what to do, then finally figured out his only option. So right when Sakura's hand was almost on the way up, when all of a sudden there was a loud bang as Naruto slammed his hands down on his table. Screw these rules. You think that a sadistic bastard like you can stop me? No, even if you decide that I should be a genin for the rest of my life, I will still find a way to become the best Kage you have ever seen. Naruto told him loudly, inspiring the rest of the people who were left. Damn kid, was all Ibiki could think, seeing as he knew that the atmosphere he just created was gone. So no one else wants to leave? Ibiki asked the class, already knowing the answer. Fine then, you all have passed the first exam. Ibiki told the group, shocking them all. What? So, this test was all for nothing? Ino asked him, annoyed with him wasting her time. Course, this just made Ibiki chuckle a bit, then slowly take of his headband, showing his scarred up head. This test, while being a bit about your knowledge, was also about your ability to gather information. For as a ninja you need to be able to gather information without anyone noticing. Though you also need to be willing to do what you have to regardless of the risks. Ibiki told them, completely serious. Now as for the test, if you could, Ibiki started to tell them until he was interrupted by a small ball breaking through a nearby window. This ball soon threw up a banner and then changed into a woman who was for the most part wearing only a trench coat. Though the banner caught people's attention at first, seeing as in large black letters it said, "All praise the sexy and taken second examiner, Enko," though the taken part seemed to be added after the thing was made, seeing as it was above a scribbled out, single. Course, when people saw this they were shocked by the purple-haired women who seemed to be a bit crazy. Though Naruto just chuckled a bit, figuring that Enko would do something like this. 10, 20. Oi Ibiki, you left way too many teams. You must be losing your touch. Enko told Ibiki, who just growled a bit and looked up at Naruto. Well, it would have been less if a little brat didn't have to wreck it all for me. He told her, then glared at Naruto, who just smiled a bit more. Oh, so you are blaming your lack of skill on a young kid like me, Scarhead? Naruto asked, deciding to tease the guy who just glared at him even more. Damn brat, if you weren't still in this test I would kill you right now. Ibiki thought then noticed that Anko was laughing at him just like the rest of the class. Oh, Naruto-kun, you sure know how to piss people off, don't you? Anko asked him, still smiling. Well, I learned from the best now, don't I, Anko-chan? Naruto told her, returning the smile, causing her to laugh a bit more. Also, I did manage to teach you something. She told him teasingly, though was actually a bit happy that her friend actually managed to gain her ability to piss people off. Anyways, brats, come with me to your next test zone. Oh, and if you aren't there in 10 minutes, you fail the exam before it even starts. Anko told them with a smile, then quickly left the room with the genin following her as fast as they could. Ibiki was collecting all of the papers with the Chunin looking through them, not really caring what he saw until he came up to one that caught his attention. Seeing as on the back of the paper was only a simple line that seemed kind of strange to him. Look at the chalkboard. It was such a strange message that he complied with it just to see what it was, and then noticed that there was a bunch of wallets on the wood that was supposed to hold the chalk, and on the board was another one of the papers attached to the wall with some tape that had a message that truly surprised him. Next time you make a test where you want people to be sneaky, don't bring anything you don't want to lose. So, he looked back at the wallets and quickly reached for his own and noticed that it wasn't there anymore. Then he remembered the fact that he was too focused on watching the kids to even bother looking at the board, so someone was so sneaky that they actually managed to take his and the Chunin's wallets and put them up in plain sight without any of them noticing. So, he was truly impressed, though was also pissed off for obvious reasons. So, he flipped the paper over and found out that the person that wrote it was the same one who was annoying him for the last few moments of the exam. Something that made him end up doing what several others did when they found themselves pranked by Naruto. He screamed, "Damn you, brat," on the top of his lungs. Yes, I know he wouldn't do this, but come on, it is a fan fiction. I wanted it to be kind of funny. Naruto. When Naruto heard the scream, he couldn't help but smile a bit and remember how he did a final thing to piss the examiner off. Man, I may not be a thief, but if I ever become one, I bet I could be pretty damn good at it. Naruto thought with a smile, then sped up a bit to catch up to Anko, who slowed down just enough to talk to him, seeing as he was one of the first to leave the room. Oi, Naru-chan, what the hell was Ibiki yelling about? Anko asked, wanting to not be left in the dark. Oh, don't worry about it, Anko, I was just making sure I returned his and the Chunin's wallets after they somehow got out of their pockets. Naruto told her with a smile, causing her to laugh. And that is why I love hanging out with you, brat. You always make things interesting just as soon as you get bored. Anko told him, laughing even more. Course, Naruto just shrugged as a response. Old habits die hard. Naruto told her simply. They sure do. Anko told him with a smile, then remembered something else she wanted to talk about with him. Hey, when we get to the area, make fun of the forest so I can go sadistic and scare the poor kids a bit more, okay? Anko told him, then sped up, not bothering to hear his answer. Which of course was a bit of laughing. And you just proved my point even more. Was all Naruto could think of as he watched his friend take the lead in running to the area again. Jonin teachers. All of the Jonin instructors were waiting in one of the classrooms, keeping themselves occupied while they waited to see if their team passed the first exam or not. They only did this because it was early enough to either get some training in or to get a head start on a trip home. Course, they were surprised when Ibiki kicked the door open, clearly annoyed. Kakashi, what the hell are you teaching your students? Ibiki asked Kakashi, confusing most of the people who knew about Ibiki. What? Was all Kakashi could ask, still surprised that Konoha's head torturer was acting this way. That little blonde kid of yours. I don't know how much you worked on stealth, but that little shit somehow managed to steal all of our wallets and put them up in plain sight, mocking us. So, how did you teach him to put his stealth at such a level? Ibiki asked, still annoyed that the boy pulled one over on him. Course, Kakashi was just surprised by this just as much as he was. Ibiki, I never taught Naruto that much about stealth. Kakashi told him, surprising the others. Wait, so a kid that was the bottom of his class managed to prank our head torturer? Asuma asked in disbelief. Actually, come to think of it, Naruto always managed to prank higher ranked people without getting caught by most of them. In fact, only Hokage-sama or Iruka seemed to be able to find him when he wanted to hide. Kakashi began to think out loud, still surprised. Then I guess Naruto probably just hiding his skill or something and just let Iruka find him. I mean really he is only a chunin, so how could Naruto get caught by him instead of highly trained Anbu? Kurenai told them. Course this just surprises them even more. Naruto, exactly how much have you been hiding? Kakashi couldn't help but think when he thought about the unpredictable blonde. Naruto_. Welcome to the forest of death. Anko told them, trying to add dramatic effect. So, Naruto did his part and called out loudly, causing Anko to surprise him by cutting his cheek, showing her sadistic side. She then began to explain the next exam. Okay brats, your goal is to collect 2 scrolls from the forest. A heaven and earth scroll. Now you will have 5 days to collect these scrolls and to bring them into the tower that is in the center of the forest. Now the challenge is that each team gets 1 scroll and there are no extras. So, you must fight other teams to get other 1. Now after you guys sign these papers saying we aren't responsible if you die, you may go in and start your test. Anko told them, and they all slowly went to grab the papers and filled them out, slightly afraid of what was to come except for the reed head, who seemed to smile at the thought of death. And soon enough each team was standing at a separate gate ready to enter the forest. Right when they were all situated, they soon heard a static-filled voice of Anko. All ready? Then in 3, 2, 1, go, Anko told them. Then all of the doors were opened by electronic signals, allowing all of the kids to run into the forest. And the second exam finally began. So, Naruto and his team quickly ran into the forest, not even stopping to form a plan until they actually made it to a defendable area. Okay guys, I think our best bet would to make a trap using a copy of our scroll as bait so the other scroll comes to us. Naruto told his team. Though Sasuke merely scoffed at the idea. Why should I wait for those weaklings? We should go find the team we need and I will simply take the scroll that is required from them. Sasuke told them, completely believing that he was better than anyone else in the exam. Sasuke-kun, I think we should go with, Sakura began to tell him, but then noticed that Sasuke was already beginning to leave the area. Naruto's plan, she mumbled, then looked over at Naruto, wondering what to do now. Course he just sighed, annoyed with his bullheaded teammate, and just began to follow him, with Sakura following soon after. Man, I swear if we didn't need all team members to pass, I would just let this idiot kill himself. Naruto thought, glaring at the Uchiha's back. Course Sasuke didn't even notice this and instead just continued to look for a team to fight. And of course he did end up finding a group, though instead of even thinking of attacking them as a team, he simply sped up towards them, leaving his 2 teammates in the dust. _sound team _ Come on Kin, hurry up. We need to find a team to beat as soon as we can. I need to show Lord Orochimaru that I am truly powerful enough to be in his main squad. Zaku told the girl, with Dosu agreeing with him. Kin herself then came out from the foliage, showing that she was carrying basically all of the equipment and was slightly struggling with the bags. Damn them for forcing me to carry all of this crap. I mean seriously, just because they are mad at my half-sister Tayuya for becoming a member of the 4 doesn't mean they have to treat me like trash, though it probably would be like this in any team I join, seeing as the bastard of a snake's way of teaching helps create these bastards' ideas. She thought, but still followed after her teammates, who weren't really being cautious, seeing as being alone in these tests usually meant death. Still, they didn't go too much farther before Sasuke jumped down in front of them, stopping them. Hand over the scroll or you will have the honor of being beaten by the Uchiha heir. Sasuke told them, confident with his skills. Course the 2 males just looked at each other, then laughed at Sasuke. Even if you are in a clan, you really think you can beat me? Especially with my teammate Dosu ready to fight you as well? Zaku asked him in disbelief, completely ignoring the fact that Kin was even there. Course this statement didn't seem to bother Sasuke, seeing as he never lost the cocky smirk he had on his face. I was hoping you would pick the hard way. He told them, then charged at them. While he did this, Zaku quickly moved out of the way, letting his teammate deal with the thought to be weakling. Dosu quickly held out his arm towards Sasuke and began pumping chakra into the device on his arm, preparing for something. He then mumbled out a few words quickly and launched a sound wave at Sasuke, who managed to jump out of the way thanks to his bloodline already being activated, allowing him to see the move coming. Course this made the jutsu hit a nearby tree instead, that soon fell down due to the damage it sustained. Well, I would prefer not to be hit by that. Sasuke thought quickly but still charged at them, still thinking that he would win. So, the distance between him and the sound team quickly decreased. Naruto and Sakura. The rest of Team 7 were trying to catch up to Sasuke, but thanks to Sasuke using a large pulse of chakra to speed away from them, they soon had another team to deal with. For apparently one of the teams that was in the forest was a tracker team that were able to find Team 7 quite easily. After all, not only did Sasuke just use a large amount of chakra, but Naruto also was naturally leaking out a decent amount simply due to the amount he had. Though thankfully this team seemed to not have focused on training much else other than tracking, seeing as the two of them were able to easily take them down. Still, the fight managed to take some time, and they didn't even end up having the scroll they needed. After the battle ended, they had no choice but to continue to chase after their missing teammate, though Naruto was in a worse mood thanks to the wasted time. Damn Tem. If you make us fail this, I will so kick your ass to hell and back ladder. Naruto thought angrily with ki coming off of him. Damn bastard, you made it so that we had to fight while being outnumbered. And while they were thankfully weak enough that we won without too much trouble, we still have to enter yet another battle that you started with another random team that will most likely be kicking your ass. I swear Gigi decided to get some payback for all the pranks I pulled by putting this as on my team. Naruto thought, releasing more and more ki as he ranted. Eventually releasing enough that any team within a 20-meter radius got a shiver of fear sent down their spines. Now of course Sakura was annoyed as well, though for different reasons. She was instead annoyed with the fact that she was already beginning to breath heavily while Naruto barely looked to sweaty at all. Am I truly that weak? She thought, saddened while somehow ignoring the ki Naruto was releasing as she continued to follow him. Sasuke. The battle raged on with Sasuke slowly gaining ground on Dosu while Zaku still just stood on the sidelines waiting for his turn. Course he didn't stay in the same spot completely, seeing as Sasuke threw kunai at him at random times throughout the battle. Still, Dosu was beginning to tire. Until finally Sasuke got lucky and managed to knock him out with a chop to the neck after one of the sound blasts were fired. Meaning that Sasuke did beat Dosu, but at a cost. For he was now exhausted from the match and slightly injured, while Zaku still was in perfect condition to fight. So, the odds of him winning his next fight were even less. Course instead of being worried, he simply smirked and brought a single hand up in a seal. Course what surprised Zaku was the single work Sasuke said, boom. After which all of the kunai Zaku dogs suddenly sparked and exploded behind him, catching him in the blast. And even though it wasn't enough to kill him, he still passed out due to the pain of having burns all over his back, and even some cuts from nearby tree bark flying at him as well. So, he ended up on the ground as well, meaning that Sasuke actually managed to even it out to a one-on-one battle. Which Kin quickly realized as well. Shit, why did they have to lose? I mean, as much as I hate to say it, but not only am I the weakest one on the team, but I am also somewhat tired from lugging all these bags around. I don't think I am going to win this. She thought, a bit afraid but still prepared for a fight. Just so you know, I count the sound team and Sasuke as high genin level. The sound team was just cocky and Sasuke got lucky, that is why he won. Also, Kin mainly uses genjutsu, which puts her taijutsu at a lower level due to the lack of focus. Course instead of attacking her, he simply looked over at her and asked for the scroll in a bored tone, which shocked her. Wait, what? What happened to wanting to fight? Kin asked, confused. Course Sasuke almost looked amused by her question. Why would I fight you? You aren't worthy enough to fight a member of the Uchiha clan. Sasuke told her with his cocky smirk never leaving his face. Course this just got Kin mad and she was about to yell back at him in anger, but was stopped yet again by shock. Seeing as someone randomly came out of the forest and kneed Sasuke in the head far too fast for the tired Uchiha to even react properly to. So, he was soon on the ground holding his head in pain. Course the figure wasn't done with the Uchiha, seeing as it still looked down at the boy with rage in its eyes. You bastard. Next time don't just run off on us. And don't act so cocky, especially when fighting someone who looks like she can kick your ass. Naruto scolded Sasuke. Course if Naruto actually looked over at the said girl, he would have noticed the fact that she was slightly blushing from his comment. He thinks I am strong. She thought happily, seeing as she was taught that complimenting someone's strength was a true compliment. Course she didn't take it completely to heart, seeing as she didn't know the boy at all. But it was still nice to hear. Course Sasuke just got pissed by the fact that Naruto was scolding him and quickly yelled back after the pain subsided. Shut up, Dobi. I was doing fine. Besides, I am an Uchiha, no one can beat him. Sasuke began to tell him, but stopped suddenly when Naruto slammed his fist into his gut hard enough to knock him out, making it so that he simply fell into Naruto's awaiting arms, who then had a shadow clone take the teen while the real Naruto looked over at Kin. Sorry to ask this, but do you happen to have the scroll? Naruto asked her, who quickly got ready to fight again after he asked her. Course Naruto just chuckled a bit at her reaction. Judging by your reaction, I believe that is a yes. Naruto told her, then reached into his jacket's pocket, causing Kin to prepare for whatever he was getting, even though she was at a huge disadvantage. Course she was surprised to see that instead of a weapon, Naruto pulled out one of their heaven scrolls. How about a trade then? Naruto asks her with a smile, shocking her even more. Course she quickly took the offer and soon had a heaven scroll instead of her earth one, seeing as it was better than getting decimated by a 2-on-1 battle. Thank you. Now, as much as I hate to leave you by yourself with these two assholes, I am afraid I have to bring this one to the tower just in case he broke something. Naruto told her kindly, causing her to yet again blush, but he didn't notice again, seeing as he was already on his way to the tower with his clone following close behind and Sakura watching their back. Course all Kin could do was just stare in the direction that they left, still in total disbelief about what happened. He was strong, but yet he was nice. Is that what would happen if I was in this village? They would be nice to me. Maybe I should try to change villages. She began thinking, then remembered she needed to tend to her teammates and began to tend to their wounds so that they wouldn't be completely useless for the rest of the test. Team 7 After collecting Sasuke, it didn't take them long to reach the tower, seeing as most teams were still just preparing, so they went faster due to not being as cautious. And of course they ended up making it almost all of the way there, but they soon noticed two teams were fighting close by and decided to check out the fight. When they got there, they found a team of Konoha ninja fighting a group of ninja that were wearing weird face masks and tights, which surprisingly looked even worse than Lee's outfit, which they got to see, seeing as Team Guy was the Konoha team. Still, they were about to leave, but they soon noticed that Team Guy seemed to be having trouble due to the clones that the group created, that somehow having chakra systems, making the Byakugan less useful. Damn it, Naruto, what should we do? I mean, even though they are from our village, this is still a test, meaning that they could just attack us as soon as we help them. So, what do you think we should do? Sakura asks, wanting to help her friend but not wanting to risk her own teammates' lives as well. Course Naruto didn't respond to her. All he did was make 4 shadow clones that quickly changed to look like the weird ninja and sent them into the group of clones. Now, after they were integrated into several different clone-filled locations, they quickly detonated, destroying a large amount of the ground and the clones, leaving only the originals on the ground. After that, he quickly looked back at Sakura with a small smirk. Well, I don't think we should do anything. They look to have it covered. So, shall we go? Naruto asks her with a large smile. Course she just smiled at him and quickly gave him a kiss on the cheek, then leaned in close to his ear. Yes, and thank you for doing that, she told him, then left the flustered boy and continued to the tower, knowing that he would soon follow her. Course Naruto wasn't the only one flustered, seeing as she was blushing just as much as he was. Man, my heart is still beating way too fast. Why did I do that? I mean, I know I like him a bit, but still, that was way too risky of a move. She complained to herself, blushing all the way, not even looking back, fearing that Naruto would notice just how flustered she managed to get herself by doing that as well. Course Naruto was still too shocked to even think about that. All he could do was simply stare at his pink-haired teammate, leaving the rest of trip in silence. Tower. As soon as Team 7 entered the tower, they quickly looked around and only saw an empty room with only a message on the wall, so they simply walked up to the message that made absolutely no sense to them. Well, I guess we should open the scrolls now, Naruto told Sakura, not completely sure about this himself. Course in the end they did do just that and soon had to toss said scrolls, thanks to them beginning to heat up. So, they both fell on the floor, forming an X that soon was covered by smoke. And when the smoke cleared, their sensei Kakashi was seen. Yo, It seems that you guys actually managed to get through this part of the test. He told them happily, still reading his book. Cue the normal explanation as in the anime that I don't want to write and I am sure you don't want to waste time reading. After Kakashi's explanation, Team 7 quickly went to the medical area to get checked over and for them to heal the, mysteriously, knocked out Sasuke. So, in a half an hour they were patched up and simply recovering while they waited for the test to end. Which of course was 4 whole days away. Course they weren't the first ones to complete, seeing as it still took them basically all day to reach the tower after dealing with the problems Sasuke caused them. So, the Sand team managed to reach the tower before them and were already spread apart relaxing. Course this instantly made Naruto tense, seeing as he saw the very kid that tried to force Ayame to kiss him. Course said kid just looked at Naruto and just glared at him for a few moments until his blonde teammate smacked him upside the head. Course after that he stopped glaring after she mumbled a few words to him that made him pale a bit and simply look at the table. Which of course made said girl smile smugly. Though she soon just looked back over to Naruto and Sakura and began to walk over to them, making Naruto prepare for what could be anything. Blondie, I am sorry for the way my brother treated your girlfriend. He was just looking for a girl, even though one actually likes him at home, even if he isn't bright enough to notice. So, please forgive him, I promise it won't happen again. I will make sure he doesn't do it again, Baka brother, she told them, though mumbled the last bit. Okay then, but she was not my girlfriend, she was just a friend. Naruto told her, who just looked at him strangely. If they were just friends, then why did she look at him like that? She thought confused, but then looked him over quickly. Then again, he does look pretty attractive, she added, blushing herself. But she soon shook the thought out of her head, feeling that those feelings were unbefitting of a serious kunoichi like herself. So, after she told him that, she quickly left them alone, leaving Sakura even more confused. What did she mean by that, Naruto-kun? Sakura asked. Well, Sakura-chan, her brother tried to force Ayame to do something she didn't want to do right before this test, and apparently his sister stopped him from doing so. Naruto told her simply, then walked away looking for an empty room to drop off his now only sleeping teammate and to get some rest as well, seeing as he had a long day as well. Plus 4 days later. Nothing really happened during the 3 days that Team 7 was waiting. They were all basically just training throughout the whole days just to keep from getting bored in the tower that really wasn't meant to host people for more than a few hours. The only thing that happened was Sasuke waking up the second day officially annoyed with Naruto, and still was even after the 3rd day passed. Course several teams came in throughout the time they were there, leaving it so only Hinata's team and a few other villages' teams left in the forest. Thankfully though, their team came in around mid-afternoon looking battered, but all of them were still alive. Course it led to a rather interesting reunion between Naruto and Hinata. And that was the only thing that was remotely interesting that happened during the relation time. For the rest of it, everyone trained and in Naruto and Hinata's case enjoyed some time together as well. But nothing else happened of interest at all until it was time for the next test. In an arena, Enko was happily looking over the genin that were now more nervous than ever. Welcome maggots to the arena where your final test will be. Enko told them with her normal evil smirk. But it is too bad that there is too many of you. So, before that you will have to go through some preliminary matches before you get to actually be in the 3rd match. She told them happily. What? Kiba screamed out in shock. Come on, do you really think that all those people who come to see the last test will actually want to see 20 battles? No, they are too good for that kind of fun. So, we make it so that there are only a few fights. Making it so they get all the gore they want to see without all the time being taken up. She explains to them, showing that she obviously wasn't a big fan of the upper class. Course after that, a man slowly walked up to them that looked incredibly sick. Cough cough. Okay then, let us begin the preliminaries now that Enko has explained this. Now if you aren't shown on the board, please go up to the viewing area until it is your turn. Hayate told them, coughing even more. After he told the group of genin about the rules, the board automatically started moving until it showed the first match, which everyone quickly cleared out of the arena for. And eventually the rounds made it to Naruto's, who was against Kiba. So, both of said boys walked down the stairs to the arena while smiling, ready to show off just how strong they have gotten. After all, they've always had a bit of a rivalry going on since they were kids. So, they happily continued walking until they both were standing in the middle of the arena waiting for their match to start. Ready to lose, Naruto? Kiba asks his friend with a confident smile. No, but you probably should try to get ready for my victory. Naruto told him right before the match started, and Kiba and Akamaru charged over towards Naruto. Course Naruto didn't move, instead he simply pulled his chakra at his hands and quickly formed a length of blue chakra chain long enough to use as a whip against Kiba. Course said boy and his dog managed to dodge Naruto's chains even when they began to pick up speed so that they seemed to be coming at them without ever stopping. Course this only went on for until Kiba was finally within range of attacking and quickly began spinning at the same time Akamaru did. Course he then called out Passing Fang as he spun at Naruto with his dog. And with that they quickly both came down upon where Naruto originally stood, just barely missing each other with the razor-like attack. Course when they stopped they didn't see Naruto but quickly smelled him out and lined up for another attack while trying to prepare for anything strange Naruto might pull. Course said boy was simply trying to think of a way to beat Kiba without hurting the boy too much. Though that wasn't made too easy, seeing as Kiba and Akamaru were giving this fight everything they had. So, pretty soon after his last dodge he had to jump out of the way yet again. Now of course he tried to attack back, but every time he tried their spins would break his chains by forcing him to make them longer than he could control. Though this did end up giving Naruto an idea. So, after Kiba's last pass through, Naruto instead of getting far away from him jumped between both Kiba and Akamaru as soon as they landed. Naruto, what the hell are you doing? You trying to make this easy on me? Okay then, Kiba told him, then went after Naruto again, figuring there was no way that he could miss Naruto at close range. Course this just made Naruto smile himself. For as soon as Kiba did this he made his chakra chains as long as he could possibly make them and launched them at the spinning duo. Course yet again it wrapped around the duo, though this time he actually wanted it to happen and quickly pulled on both of them behind them, causing them to slam into each other. Now this was made worse due to the fact that they were still spinning, so instead of causing damage to Naruto they were injuring each other. Course by the time they managed to stop they both were heavily damaged and Naruto simply just wrapped them up in the already made chains. Now give up, Kiba, Naruto told him calmly, and the boy struggled for a few moments before finally doing exactly that, making Naruto the winner of the match. Course this shocked several of the people watching, seeing as they still thought Naruto would be the bottom of the class. Still, Hinata was smiling happy that her boyfriend won as he went up the stairs and sat by her while Kiba went to get him and his dog a checked out just in case. Nice job, Naruto-kun, Hinata told her boyfriend as soon as he sat down. Course he just sighed at this. Thank you, Hinata-chan, but I just wish I didn't have to be the one to ruin Kiba's chance. Naruto told her. Oh, don't worry about it, Naruto-kun. I mean, both did your best. It was just bad luck that brought him to fight you. Besides you, there is always the next test anyways, so, don't feel bad about it. Kiba already knew that this might happen when he started. She told him, trying to comfort him. Course this just made him smile again. Oh well, at least he already accepted that. Naruto told her happily. Thank you, Hinata-chan, he added, then sat to watch the rest of the fights as he held her hand. Though seeing as he wasn't used to being intimate in any way, really this small show of love was more than enough to get Naruto blushing a bit. Course Hinata was as well and was currently in her own little world. Ah, Naruto-kun is actually holding my hand. Ah, it is nice to even have him this close to me, and this won't be the last of the love I get seeing as he is my boyfriend. Hinata thought with one of the biggest smiles on her face. Quote. I just hope our relationship continues. I mean, he might actually hug me and then kiss me. Then maybe after a while I can even try out the scene from page 42 of Jiraiya-sama's newest book. She thought happily, blushing as she thought about it. Saikuranai couldn't help but let out as she saw how Hinata was acting even from the seats that were set up for the teachers to watch and discuss. Though she was happy to notice that no one else was giving the couple any of their attention at all. Even with me trying to stop my sister from becoming this way, she still managed to receive the Hyuga clan's bad habit. Well, at least her shyness should keep her from trying most of whatever she is thinking about for now. But I will have to make sure Naruto doesn't encourage her. Sadly, if they do get to know each other well enough, I don't think even I would be able to stop them from that. But I will try, she thought with a frown, then glared at the boy. Yes, I will try my hardest to keep my little sister as innocent as possible. I won't let you take her away from me, Naruto. She thought, still glaring at the boy, but made sure to keep part of her focus on the matches just in case one of her students came up. Still, this was more than enough focus of female anger that Naruto couldn't help feel a shiver go down his spine. But the poor teen couldn't figure out why he did so, no matter how hard he tried, so in the end he shrugged it off. After all, at the moment he was more than happy to focus on the feeling of his girlfriend's soft hands on his calloused ones instead. This sweet moment continued all the way to the point where it was finally Hinata's turn to fight. A match that turned out to be between her and her own cousin, a cousin that hated her simply because of which side of the family she was born into. Though when she saw her cousin staring at her, Hinata couldn't help but freeze up with fear, seeing as she knew he was a prodigy of the clan. But thankfully she was able to calm down a bit after feeling Naruto place a hand on her shoulder, making her look at the blonde beside her instead. Hinata, don't be afraid, just do your best, I know you can win if you do. Naruto told her, giving her shoulder a small reassuring quick squeeze, then sat back down, allowing her to walk past him to the stairs. Now this small pep talk seemed to be enough for Hinata as she quickly regained control of herself and began the walk down to the arena. I will not let you down, Naruto-kun, was all she was thinking as she took each step down to where her cousin was now waiting. And soon enough the two of them stood a few feet away from each other on the dirt ground. Hinata-san, just give up already, we both know that you can't win, fate won't allow it. Neji told her, trying to break the small amount of backbone the girl seemed to have built up. But this time Hinata wouldn't allow this to happen. Instead she focused her mind away from his hate-filled eyes and on trying to impress her, Naruto-kun. No, Neji-san, I will not just give up. I have too much riding on this match. Hinata told her cousin, even though she disliked fighting. What? You mean you have a reason now? Let me guess, you are going to try to beat me to show off to that Naruto boy you are so interested in. Or is it to try and show people that you aren't as weak as everyone thinks? Either way, you should know your chances of beating me is basically zero, though I do have to admit that I am shocked you would be willing to go so far for someone that is the bottom of the barrel when it comes to this generation. Surely, he managed to beat his opponent only through pure luck. Neji told her, causing the girl to for once in her life become furious. Don't you dare talk about Naruto-kun like that. Hinata ordered her cousin and was going to say more, but the match was started and instead she just quickly went on the attack. Now of course, thanks to the fact that they both were from the same clan, they both had relatively the same moves, so they knew what to expect. So, this truly was a battle based upon skill only, which was shown as they launched chakra blast after chakra blast at each other ferociously. Neither side wanted to give up and eventually Hinata got a few good blows on Neji, launching said boy back a few feet. Course, this just added to the teen's rage. Suffer, Hinata, Neji quickly told her, then quickly ran at her, hitting her with several palm strikes only to say 8 trigrams 64 palms. And with that he backed off, allowing Hinata time to enjoy the pain that he just gave her. Which he saw soon enough when she stumbled a bit when the jutsu took its full toll on her body. Now just give up, there is no way you can win now that every one of your chakra points has been closed off. He told her, simply watching his cousin suffer. No, I can't give up. Not when Naruto-kun is watching and rooting for me. Hinata told herself, then forced herself to move towards her opponent. So you don't want to just admit that you are a failure yet? Well then I guess I will just have to make this the final time you make that mistake. Neji told her, then hit her lung with a chakra pulse after avoiding her pitiful attempt to doge. Now give up. Course Hinata still said nothing and continued to trying to fight, even though everyone including Naruto was trying to tell her to just give up before she gets any more hurt. In fact, her injuries were bad enough that the match was even called in Neji's favor before she fought to her own death. Still she could do nothing but stand on her shaky legs, barely alive. Come to think of it, why don't I just make it so that this world doesn't have to deal with your uselessness, and get a bit of revenge for my father's death, Neji told her then quickly while muttering the last part. He then ran at her with his palm glowing with chakra, ready to send a chakra pulse at Hinata's heart. Course while he did this everyone was either shocked or telling him to stop, In fact, several people even went to try and stop Neji, including Naruto. Thankfully, before Neji got to Hinata, he had several people held him back, including his own sensei. Meanwhile, Naruto was hugging his girlfriend with his back to Neji, basically being a human shield. Now these ninjas kept restraining Neji until Hinata was rushed off to the hospital. Now Naruto would have gone with her, but instead he was shaking with rage and quickly glanced over at Neji with his whirlpool eyes now red with slits through them as red chakra raged in the air around him. You better hope that you don't face me in the next round of fighting, for I will make sure I kill you in a way so gruesome even Anko will cringe. Naruto told Neji, then left to go be with Hinata in the hospital. Now this managed to make all of the ninja around Neji feel slightly afraid of the thought of that happening, seeing as they knew how Anko was while Neji just was confused. Though he knew that Naruto was someone to be careful with thanks to the display of chakra he showed around him. Course the people standing in the arena weren't the only ones to see what Naruto did. In the stands, man, I have never seen Naruto that mad before. In fact, I have only seen him mad once, and that was with thugs that wanted to hurt us. Sakura told the rest of the group. Yay, but there was good reason for him to be mad. I mean, he did basically try to kill Hinata, who apparently is his girlfriend or something, judging by the way they have been acting. Still, I can't believe Neji said those things and tried to kill his own cousin. Tenten told them, slightly shocked herself. Course they then all realized that Ino was still slightly pale. Ino, are you okay? Huh, oh yay. I am just thinking about Naruto's threat. Man, that he truly does know how to scare the crap out of someone. Ino told the group, confusing them. Why? I mean, this Anko person can't be too bad, right? Sakura asks her friend. No. She is worse. Anko is one of the leaders of the interrogation squad of Konoha. She became good at what she does for the simple reason that she actually enjoys torturing the people. She happily finds what a person's worst nightmare is and uses them against them. In fact, it is rumored that the screams of her victims are one of the things that brings her pleasure. Also, thanks to her and the other leaders' style, Konoha is one of the most feared places to be tortured in the elemental nations, according to my father. He even says that her success rate is pretty close to 100%. Ino explained to the group, shocking them. What? How could someone become that demented? Tenten asks, amazed. No one knows, but people have a theory that it was due to her life training under Orochimaru caused it. Then again, there is another that says it is because of the way she was treated after he defected from Konoha. Finally, there is also a rumor that saying her method was originally not that bad and only became this bad due to her becoming friends with the village demon, whatever that means. Ino tells the group, scaring them even more. Man, if Naruto says his plan would make a demonic person like that feel fear, then what the hell does he have planned for Neji? Must be bad enough to destroy him both mentally and physically. They all, though at the same time causing a shiver of fear to go down all of their backs. Course there was another conversation going on at this same time. Gara, did you see that change? Isn't it a lot like? Tamari began to ask, only to see that her brother wasn't listening and seemed to be in his own little world. That chakra felt like mine, only a lot stronger. Could he possibly be like me? But if so, then why does he act so differently? Naruto Uzumaki, you truly are someone I need to keep my eye on. You might even be one of the ones that can help me kill off all these people who want to torture us, who hold the demons. Gara, though, with an evil smirk that made his siblings slightly shy away from him as he looked down at the gate that Naruto left through. Demon thinking. After Naruto left, the rest of the matches came and went, though none of them seemed as interesting after the threat that Naruto gave. After the matches finished, the winners were set up into the actual competition's bracket and let everyone leave to prepare for a month. Though seeing as Naruto already left, it was decided that Kakashi would tell him at a later time. So, everyone went their separate ways while those competing were trying to figure out how to train for their upcoming battles. Though for most of the Konoha ninja involved, their first plan was to check up on their friends. Hospital. In the hospital, as soon as Hinata was taken in, she was put into the emergency room. And of course, Naruto was there, sitting right next to the room within minutes, simply waiting for her to come out and to hear the news. Though due to Naruto still thinking about Neji, he was accidentally still releasing enough Ki to make most people walking around his area give him space. Something the blonde didn't even notice, seeing as he was focusing on making plans for fighting Neji in the future. Something that gave him such an eerie smile that would be enough to make civilians stay away even without the KI. Thankfully, none of Naruto's KI was entering the medical room, seeing as it was sealed as soon as the doors closed. Equals rest of the genin equals. When they finally made it up to the floor that Hinata was on, all of them immediately felt uneasy, though they had no clue why. Man, why the hell is there something that seems dangerous enough to make us uneasy in a fucking hospital? Kiba, who came back from his checkup with minor injuries, asked, while Akamaru whined, clearly scared. Course, a nurse who was walking by with a clipboard decided to answer him. Well, none of us besides those in the sealed-off medical rooms really want to even be on this floor, thanks to the brat sighting by room 129. The nurse told them, glaring in the direction of the room. What, someone is causing this? How? Ino asks the woman, shocked. Though in the end their answer ended up coming from someone behind them, which turned out to be Haku. Well, due to Hinata being in that room, Naruto is sitting over there just waiting for her to come out. Though apparently, he is annoyed at something, seeing as the whole time he has been here he has been releasing ki. In FCT he hasn't weakened his KI even slightly this whole time. What happened to get him this upset? Haku asked the group. Well, Hinata lost her match to Neji rather badly. Not to mention that Neji had no remorse and beat her nearly to death before the match was called. Though what really got this started was when Neji went for the kill, even though the match was stopped. Now thankfully he was stopped, but Naruto still gave him a threat so bad that even some of the people around us cringed in fear, then left, apparently to come here, Sakura told the girl, who simply nodded her head. Well, then that would explain the smile he has then. She told them, confusing them. But instead of answering them verbally, she simply brought them over to where Naruto was to see for themselves. Damn, Naruto truly can be scary when he wants to be. I really do have to remember not to piss him off. Kiba thought, creeped out like the rest of them were when they found Naruto. Naruto-kun, how is Hinata doing in there? Ino asks after partially getting over her shock. Course, when she said this, he finally was brought out of his crazed mindset, which released all of the overwhelming ki from the area, allowing all of the people around him except for Haku to breathe a sigh of relief. Though the reason it didn't bother Haku was due to her being used to facing strong ki already, thanks to Zabuza. There has been no news on her health. All I know is that they have yet to come out at all since they began to heal her. Naruto told them, clearly worried about her. Hey man, don't worry. Hinata is strong enough to come out of this in no time. They just want to make sure they help her healing process as much as they can. I mean, come on, she has to be almost completely healed already. Kiba told him, trying to cheer him up and to get everyone in a bit of a better mood. Yeah, you are probably right. Naruto mumbled, though he didn't sound so sure. Course, after that he simply just looked at the door, blocking him from seeing how Hinata was doing. After that they all simply sat down and talked a bit while waiting for their friend to come out. Plus that night in the end Hinata didn't come out of the emergency room for quite a while. And eventually most of the friends had to leave thanks to their parents forcing them. But Naruto had no one that would do that to him, leaving the task to persuade him to get some rest up to Haku and Kakashi. Though he even ignored their persuasions and just kept on staring at the door. Finally, after several hours, Hinata was finally brought out of the emergency room and was placed in a normal recovery room for some rest. Something Naruto was truly thankful to see, but didn't bother talking with the medical staff that much and instead just sat in one of the chairs her room had until he finally fell asleep due to exhaustion. Next morning early in the morning, Ino decided to go see how Hinata was, seeing as she was still worried about her friend. Course, now she brought flowers that she grabbed from their family's shop. But when she got there she saw something that she didn't expect. For while she thought that everyone left when they were ordered to, she was wrong. For there was Naruto sleeping with his head down on the bed. Hinata was on, clearly asleep. So he stayed here with her throughout the whole night. Man, Hinata sure got lucky getting such a loyal boyfriend, but wait, if I really wanted to I could be with him as well. She thought, smiling slightly. Course, after a few moments of just standing there she noticed that the morning sun rays that came through the room's window and seemed to bother Hinata a bit. So, figuring that she was waking up, Ino simply continued to stand there watching as the girl slowly began to wake up finally. though she clearly was tired not only from her fight but from most of her body's energy going into healing. Was all Hinata could quietly mumble out, clearly not enjoying her slightly sedated and still sore body. Good morning, sleeping beauty. Man, you gave us such a scare. Ino told the girl, then put the flowers down on a stand near the bed. Oh, Hinata answered, feeling a bit upset. But don't worry, Naruto-kun has already planned to get revenge for you, seeing as he is fighting Neji right away in the next round. Ino told Hinata, shocking the girl. What? Hinata asks, shocked. Yay. He even threatened him to fate that made even the Jonin shiver in fear. Man, Neji is a dead man for sure when Naruto gets his hands on him. Ino told her, shaking her head. No. I have to stop Naruto-kun. I mean, even if he almost did that, he is still family. I have to Naruto before it is too late. Hinata told Ino, shocking the girl. What, even after he did and said all of that to you? Ino asks, shocked only to get a nod in return. Course to this, Ino just shook her head in disbelief. Sigh, fine, then try to explain that to him when he wakes up. Ino tells the girl, which confused Hinata. You mean you haven't noticed yet? Just look to your left side. She ended up telling the girl, who did just that and saw what Ino was talking about. So he waited here for me to wake up. Did he stay up all night or something just for me? Man, I knew my Naruto-kun was truly the best man I could ever get. Maybe that is why he captured my heart almost as soon as I first saw him. Hinata thought, looking down at Naruto lovingly, and then began to gently play with his blonde hair with a small smile on her face. Hinata, how did you get lucky enough to get a boyfriend that cares about you so much that he actually spends the entire day with you while you are in the hospital? I mean, he never even left for food and stayed even after the adults tried to get us all out of the hospital. Not to mention the fact that he would probably do whatever you wanted him to if you asked. Ino told Hinata, who only gave a small yeah as an answer. So, you are going to share him with me, right? Ino then adds with a smirk that only increased when she heard the same thing happen again. Wait, what? Hinata asks, shocked when she finally fully heard Ino's question. Too late, you already gave me an answer. Ino told the girl with a small smile, then noticed that Naruto seemed to finally begin to come out of his nap. I mean, Naruto agrees with me, right? Ino asks the still partially asleep boy. Oh, yeah, whatever. Naruto told the girl, then laid his back down to sleep some more. See, now that makes it official. I am now Naruto's newest girlfriend. Ino told Hinata happily. Wait, what? Naruto asks, seeing as that statement surprised him out of his tiredness. You heard me, Naruto, you just agreed to let me be your second girlfriend. And don't even say that can't happen because I already know all about your CRA. Ino told Naruto. But Ino, we hardly know each other. So maybe you should try to get to know someone before you try to create a relationship. Naruto told her, trying to get her to think about it a bit. Course this just made Ino look a bit annoyed. Fine, but I already am 80% sure that you are exactly what I want in a guy just by the way you treat Hinata. But I will wait a little while, but you have to at least take me on a date to get to know each other then. Ino ordered Naruto. Course this just made him chuckle a bit. Well, Ino never was known for hiding what she truly thinks. Naruto thought with a smile. Fine, but only if Hinata-chan agrees. After all, I don't want to do something my Haim doesn't like. Naruto told her, causing Ino to give Hinata a puppy dog look. Sigh. Fine, but remember, Ino, I was the first girl, so I am going to set up the rules. Which I will tell you later on. But for today, let me just recover for a while. Hinata told Ino, who nodded understanding, watching as Hinata laid down again on the bed and let her head fall back onto the pillow. Course with that, Naruto simply kissed her forehead and walked out of the room, with Ino following soon after so that she could sleep in peace now that he was sure that she was safe. For while Naruto still wanted to be by her side, he also knew that she should have peace and quiet. Outside of room. Well, Naruto, do you feel happy now that you know she is safe? Ino asks the boy, she was by curious. Yay. I really was worried about her for a while there, but now that she is out of that danger zone, I can finally not worry about her as much. Naruto told the girl, only to see her smiling at him. What? He asks, confused. Oh, It just makes me happy to hear that you still go for love instead of beauty even though you can basically court as many girls as you want. Course with Hinata you kind of got both but that isn't my point. What I am trying to say is that instead of you going and just getting any girl that you think looks good you actually go for the girls you care about. It is good to hear that you are such a good man. They are so rare in this world, or so I am told. Ino tells him. He really didn't know how to answer her statement so they just entered a comfortable silence as they walked to Naruto's favorite restaurant seeing as Naruto had not ate anything in basically a day and a half and he was starving. Ichiraku's shop. Oi, old man, can I get 6 bowls of miso and pork ramen? Naruto asked his favorite cook who simply smiled at his long-time loyal customer. Course Ino ordered a miso ramen as well seeing as she planned to simply enjoy some time with Naruto and get to know him before her and Hinata set up the ground rules. So, while they waited for their food to be prepared they both told each other about themselves just to get a little bit of information on each other. Now of course this simply seemed like two friends talking seeing as Naruto refused to even try something that would be related to a relationship like kissing until they actually knew that there would be something between them rather than just physical attraction. Ha, Naruto-kun, you truly know how to have both funny and serious moments, don't you? Ino asks happily laughing a bit while said boy was smiling. Well of course if I didn't know how to have fun then I just wouldn't even be myself anymore. Naruto told her still smiling happily. But hey, instead of laughing at me shouldn't you be laughing at the how many time Miss always full of energy ended up sleeping at her parents' shop? Naruto teasingly asks the girl causing her to blush out of embarrassment. Course this only lasted for a few moments until they both stared laughing at the other's expense just remembering the past and reviewing the present. Still when Ayame saw how close Naruto and Ino were getting she was thoroughly confused. Hey, why is Naruto on a date with that blonde? I thought that Hinata already took Naruto from me, not that I had him anyways. But still cheating is not acceptable. Ayame thought annoyed and decided to talk to them when she brought over their ramen. Thank you Ayame-ne-san, Naruto happily told the waiter that he treated as a sister for most of his life. You're welcome Naruto-kun. Though can I ask you something quickly? Ayame asks her secret crush. Yeah, what is it? Well, you are dating Hinata, right? Yeah. So, does that mean you are cheating or something? She asks deciding that she was going to get her answers once and for all. Now Naruto quickly thought about it and figured he was in a way cheating on Hinata. It just happened to be legal, seeing as the CRA forces him to do so. Well, sadly I guess I am, but Naruto began to tell her but didn't actually get a chance. How dare you cheat on Hinata? Or any girl for that matter, Naruto. Why, if I didn't like you like family I would kill you for even putting a girl through that. But I am still going to, she yelled at him angrily until she was stopped by a yell. Naruto-kun isn't cheating, he just thinks he is seeing as that rule he was put under forces him to date more than one girl. Ino tells Ayame surprising the girl with the information and Naruto with how fast she came to his defense. What? Ayame asks confused yet again. You see Naruto was put under the CRA law meaning that he has to have more than wife. So, he kind of has to have more than one girlfriend and we all know it. Ino told the now curious girl. How many people is Naruto dating? She asks both curious and to see if she still had a chance. Well, right now just Hinata and me but I bet there are several others that will want to join when they hear the news. Especially since he treats his girlfriends like princesses no matter what. Ino told Ayame smiling a bit seeing as she was all ready to get treated the same way Hinata was, protectiveness and all. Still after she said this the only noise in the building was Ayame's father cooking and Naruto eating. Wait, so if he can have multiple girls then I still have a chance, right? Ayame thought happily looking over at the blonde that caught her attention. But does he like me like that? I mean he treats me like a sister every time he sees me. Will he be willing to change that to seeing me as a lover? Man, so many questions. Why did the guy that stole my heart have to be so confusing? Well, I guess it was what I asked for when I fell in love with the most unpredictable ninja in Konoha, Ayame thought smiling a bit more. Hey Ayame, why are you staring at me? Naruto asks the girl when she got out of her zoning out. Course when she saw him looking at her confused, she instantly realized that she was caught staring at him. No reason Naruto-kun. I was just thinking for a bit. Ayame told him quickly. Oh, about what? Naruto asked, even more curious. Just about a new recipe I wanted to try using. She quickly told him, happy that she thought of a believable lie. Oh, great, well, when you finally get it ready, please let me be one of the first to try it. Naruto begged her, already drooling a bit at the thought of a brand new ramen flavor, seeing as he assumed she would be making ramen. Course, this just made her laugh a bit before she promised she would, then quickly went back to bringing in more of Naruto's ramen order after a quick love-filled glance. Now Naruto missed this, but Ino didn't say anything. Instead, she simply ate a bit more of her ramen. Looks like I will have to take someone with me to talk with Hinata. As she did. Course, after that, both of them simply continued to enjoy their time talking, with Ayame joining in several times until they finally decided to go their own separate ways. Next day. Naruto was walking quickly over to the hospital after meeting his team, where they were quickly released after Kakashi told Sasuke that he was going to be training him and that Naruto was going to be trained by someone named Ebisu. Sadly though, after he reached the hospital, he was only allowed to be with her for a little bit before it was time for a checkup. Something that forced Naruto to leave after just giving the girl one last hug. So, he decided to spend his day training instead, now that his first plan was ruined. Gara. Gara was walking around Konoha, scaring everyone with the amount of ki that he never stopped pumping out when he finally saw Naruto running to the hospital, which made him smile. Only 1 month until I can kill you, blonde. I will make sure mother gets as much of your blood as possible. For mother seems to want you more than anyone else in this village. He thought, with his sand slowly moving around him.